The Arya thing. That was not prophecy, or else Mel would not have continued down the path with Stannis, which she would later come to regret. It was a show-only future vision, a fuzzy vision, which Mel did not fully understand until the very end, when our Mel came through big. And I love Arya, but Arya is not the princess that was promised because she did not come from the line of Rhaella and Aerys Targaryen, so she can't be. You can make an argument for Dany, or for Jon and Dany's future child being the prince or princess that was promised, but the dude who we found out to be the Prince of Dragonstone's son, the dude who was literally promised, he is the prince who was promised, and his is the Song of Ice and Fire. And the Cat's Paw Dagger? It's not Lightbringer, although in being used to defeat the darkness, I could definitely see how it's being interpreted that way. Now, a lot of y'all are giving me credit for calling the Arya vs. the Night King thing over a year ago, but I just want to be clear.
All men are made of water. Do you know this?
I figured that Arya would use that Season 7 dagger toss move at some point, and I thought it would be really neat if Syrio's line about water related to the Night King, since he's Mr. Frozen H2O.
If you pierce them, the water leaks out, and they die.
But I offered up that Arya option, as well as all the other options in that video, as just that, as options. At the time that I made that video, I was already firmly committed to the idea that they would heal the Night King, so I was wrong. I saw the clues, but I was too dense to believe them. I was wrong in terms of the show, and to be honest, I now think that it might go down very similarly in the books, because in hindsight, it was brilliant, it was awesome. When Arya entered the Hall of Faces, quote, 1,000 faces were gazing down on her, a situation that she found herself in the Battle of Winterfell. Arya once traveled with Yoren of the Night's Watch, so in a way, Arya did her part as a sister of the Night's Watch, and that's a really nice nod to Dany Flint, the girl who once wanted to be part of the Night's Watch back in the day. The girl whom I believe the Night's Queen legend is based off of. Now let's look at Harrenhal. When Arya had just one name left for Jaqen, the last death has to count, Arya told herself every night when she whispered her names. But now she wondered if that was truly the reason she had hesitated. So long as she could kill with a whisper, Arya need not be afraid of anyone. But once she used up that last death, she'd only be a mouse again. So Arya once hesitated to say the final name to Jaqen because so long as she could kill with a whisper, Arya need not be afraid of anyone. But over time, our girl learned to be brave even when she was afraid.
That is the only time a man can be brave.
And Arya swung the sword herself. George R. R. Martin used the phrase, wondering what it meant, just 3 times in the canon. Once with Bran, thinking about Hodor saying the word Hodor. Hodor, Bran agreed, wondering what it meant. The second time George R. R. Martin used that phrase was with Lady Cat, being suspicious about Theon. So the first 2 times that George R. R. Martin used that phrase are related to pretty big events. Here's the third and final time that George R. R. Martin used that phrase, wondering what it meant. She whispered her names to her pillow, and when she was done, she added Valar Morghulis in a small, soft voice, wondering what it meant. It means all men must die. The kindly man in the books once asked Arya, "Do you know of any folk who live forever?" "No," she would answer, "all men must die." And Arya eventually found someone who was violating that principle big time, the Night King. So in hindsight, the Valar Morghulis concept seems like a clue that Arya will take out the Night King in the books as well, paying off that third and final use of the phrase, wondering what it meant. And check this out. Assuming that the Night King is a Stark, the Lone Wolf died, but the pack survived, giving new meaning to the kindly man's words in the Ugly Little Girl chapter, quote, "Death came for him in the end, as it comes for all men, as it must come for a certain man upon the morrow." We've got the whole water pierce them and it leaks out thing. We've got the show-only clue from Melisandre about eyes, brown eyes, blue eyes, green eyes, eyes that Arya will shut forever. And Bran Stark gave Arya the dagger at the exact spot where she would eventually use it on the Night King. Arya trained to be quiet as a shadow or silent as a shadow with Syrio Forel, and later with Jaqen at Harrenhal and the kindly man at the House of Black and White, at least in the books. So Arya was able to sneak up to Jon at the spot where she snuck up to the Night King, and that got her close, but no cigar. However, she then used the new move that we saw in Season 7, plus she incorporated Jon's lesson.
First lesson. Stick
with the pointy end.
As well as a key lesson that Sandor once taught her.
That's where the heart is.
The best part about Arya's finishing move, though, was that the very first thing that Syrio ever did was to toss her a sword, and she dropped it.
Tomorrow you will catch it.
But she didn't drop the ball this time, and neither did the writers. This was some brilliant storytelling.
I'm defending our family.
Arya has grown as both a woman and a warrior through a very dark journey full of trials.
I suffered things you could never imagine.
I could not have survived the things that any of these amazing women survived.
Oh, I don't know about that, and I can imagine quite a lot.
Arya is legit. Arya is awesome. And this is pretty cool. Syrio once said this to Arya.
You are late, boy.
That line is very fitting for Mr. Jonathan Snow, who simply couldn't get there in time to save Bran, and I'm just playing around. Jon's awesome too. He was doing his thing. It's all good. In season 7, Jon thought that what he did best was fight and kill. He implied as much to Dany, but Jon's mistaken. What Jon has always done best is bring people together, and that was his primary role in the War for the Dawn. Jon was the uniting force among the Free Folk, the Night's Watch, the Brotherhood Without Banners, as well as Davos and Gendry, Sansa and her coalition, and Dany's coalition. So Jon, just like Dany and everyone else, he played a huge role in saving mankind.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, Arya delivered the final blow, and it was very fitting since the Night King, at least from the perspective of the living, he represented death.
What do we say to the god of death?
Not today. Not today.
The Faceless Men are hitmen. They do not act as gods. They do not cast judgment. Faceless Men do not choose between good men and bad men because all men must die. But Arya Stark is not a faceless man.
A girl is Arya Stark of Winterfell. And I'm going home.
After saving mankind, after saving home, saving Winterfell, it's all the more likely that Arya spends the rest of her life there. But
Not today.
because a girl has a list, and there are still 2 names left on that list. Someday, she will find them, hunt them, smell their fear, taste their blood. Someday. Maybe the brown eyes and the green eyes are Meryn Trant and Walder Frey, or maybe the green eyes are Cersei. I don't think so, but we're gonna find out soon. Either way, get out your tissues, because I still think that there's a very likely chance that Gregor mortally wounds Sandor, and Arya has to give Sandor the gift of mercy.
7 hounds.
Arya Stark, savior of mankind, savior of Winterfell, future lady of Winterfell, the she-wolf. At Harrenhal, Arya once spoke to
Poor old dead Ned.
She spoke to Ned through a werewood to his ghost. Her father's ghost reminded her that she was Arya of Winterfell, daughter of the North, that she had told him that she would be strong. Ned reminded Arya that she has the wolf blood in her, and Arya remembered, the wolf blood. I'll be as strong as Robb, I said I would. She took a deep breath, then lifted the broomstick in both hands and brought it down across her knee. It broke with a loud crack, and she threw the pieces aside. I am a direwolf, and done with wooden teeth. They thought they were hunting her, she knew, with all the strange sharp certainty of dreams, but they were wrong. She was hunting them. Meat was meat, and men were prey. She was the Night Wolf.
Or is the little girl the bravest one here?
Aye. She might be.